What mysteries are hidden in the secrets of your blood? Have you ever stopped to think that those two discrete letters on your ID card might carry much more than just medical information? What if I told you that your blood type reveals hidden traits of your personality, unconscious patterns that shape your decisions, relationships, and even your destiny? Blood isn't just what keeps you alive. It's a code, a silent message that spans generations and connects you to something far greater. For a long time, we were taught to view our blood type merely as a technical detail, A, B, AB, O, positive or negative. But few people know that in many spiritual traditions and ancient cultures, blood has always been seen as a symbol of who we are at our core. What silently circulates through your body, nourishing every cell, also carries invisible records, behavioral, emotional, and spiritual tendencies that have accompanied you since before your birth. Imagine for a moment that your blood doesn't just transport oxygen, but also the memories of who you were, the challenges you faced, and even the gifts you need to develop in this life. That it's like a hidden map drawn by your soul to guide you through this existence. This may sound too mystical for some, but believe me, your blood speaks. And if you know how to listen, you might uncover aspects of yourself that you've never noticed until now. So, stay with me until the end of this video. Give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and write in the comments where you're watching from so I can see how far this message has traveled. Now, take a deep breath, because what you're about to discover might change the way you see yourself forever. Before we start unraveling what each blood type can reveal about you, it's crucial that you understand one thing. Your blood is not a biological accident. It's part of the spiritual story your soul chose to live in this life. Yes, your blood doesn't just carry nutrients, it also bears deep imprints of your past experiences, the lessons you've accumulated across other lifetimes. It's one of the invisible threads connecting you to who you were, who you're becoming, and who you will yet be. Spirituality teaches us that the soul goes through various experiences, traversing lives, bodies, and contexts, and with each new existence, it carefully chooses certain characteristics to continue its learning. Your blood type is one of these symbolic choices. It represents patterns your soul wants to develop, gifts it wants to manifest, and challenges it needs to overcome. Just like the family you were born into, the country, the culture, your blood is also a piece in this larger puzzle that gives meaning to your journey. It may seem surprising, but there's a profound spiritual understanding that your blood holds memories and impulses you carry without even realizing it. Maybe you've never stopped to think about it, but that tendency of yours to be more impulsive, more reflective, more sociable, or more reserved might be directly related to the vibrational pattern of your blood. In a way, it's a reflection of how your soul organized itself to fulfill the lessons of this existence. Moreover, blood is also seen as a link between you and your ancestry. Think about it. Your blood carries traits from your parents, your grandparents, people you may never have met, but who silently left a mark on who you are today. While it expresses your individuality, it also connects you to a lineage, a larger story that has influenced you and continues to influence you, even if you're not fully aware of it. And there's more. Many spiritual traditions believe that before reincarnating, the soul carefully chooses the body it will inhabit to learn the necessary lessons. Blood is part of that package. It's the energy that sustains you and at the same time guides you. It may seem overly symbolic, but when you start observing the patterns in your life, you realize nothing happens by chance. Blood, then, is a kind of silent contract between your soul and this existence. So, when we talk about your blood type as something that can change your life, we're not exaggerating. By understanding what this characteristic reveals, you begin to look at yourself with more awareness, noticing that many of your actions, reactions, and preferences aren't just conscious choices, but deep responses to patterns carrying stories far older than you might imagine. And it's precisely this knowledge that can set you free. Now that you understand that blood is not just biology, but also a powerful spiritual symbol, we can start exploring what each blood type reveals about who you are. Get ready, because from now on, we'll dive into each profile, discovering together the strengths and challenges you carry within. If your blood type is A, it's very likely that you feel an almost natural need to keep things under control, to bring order to chaos, to organize everything around you. Since childhood, you might have shown this tendency, arranging your toys in a specific sequence, wanting everything in its place, or even worrying about small details that others didn't even notice. It's not that you enjoy rigidity, but rather that you feel a kind of inner calm when the world around you is organized. People with blood type A are often perceived as responsible, committed, and even a bit demanding. You might have heard phrases like, "Wow, you take everything so seriously," or "Relax a little." But what few understand is that, for you, keeping your word, fulfilling promises, and doing what's right isn't just a choice, it's an intimate need, something that seems to come from a much deeper place, as if it were written within you. This sense of responsibility often puts you in positions of great dedication and even overload. You might be the person who always takes on more than they should, who's always available to help, who worries about deadlines, commitments, and everyone's well-being. Sometimes you end up forgetting to take care of yourself because you feel that others depend on your organization, your structure, your consistency. This isn't weakness, it's part of your mission in this life, to be a beacon of stability. In the workplace, those with blood type A usually stand out for their dedication, competence, and attention to detail. You rarely deliver something incomplete or poorly done, and might even get annoyed when you notice that those around you don't share the same care. Your pursuit of excellence makes you highly valued, but it can also lead you to demand too much of yourself. The challenge here is to understand that not everything needs to be perfect, and that the world won't collapse if you relax a little now and then. In romantic relationships, you tend to be loyal, protective, and very caring. When you love, you dedicate yourself intensely and strive to create a safe and harmonious environment. However, you might struggle to express your deepest feelings or deal with people who are very unstable or unpredictable. You prefer solid relationships where you can trust and know exactly where you stand. Your soul seeks security and often projects this into your connections. Because you carry this more restrained and meticulous energy, you might be seen as reserved, introspective, or even a bit closed off. But in reality, you prefer to observe before acting, think before speaking, and plan before taking risks. This isn't fear, it's wisdom. Your soul has likely learned, perhaps in past lives, the value of acting with caution, and now carries this stance as a form of protection but also as a sign of emotional maturity. Behind this need for organization, control, and perfection lies a deeply generous soul that wants, above all, to ensure everything works well, that everyone is okay, and that the world around you is a safe place to live. Your blood carries this calling, this silent mission, to be the guardian of order. And now that you understand this aspect better, you can use this strength not as a burden but as a tool to build fairer, more stable, and more welcoming environments. Having blood type A comes with many admirable qualities, but like any strength, it can also become a challenge. One of the most delicate points is excessive self-demand. Those with this profile tend to set very high standards for themselves and others, often suffering because they can't tolerate mistakes or failures. This perfectionism can create a constant sense of dissatisfaction, a feeling that it's never enough, and may even push people away who feel pressured or judged, even if that wasn't your intention. Another difficult point for those with blood type A is the tendency to take on too many responsibilities. Because of your need to keep everything in order and running smoothly, you often end up carrying more than you can handle, believing that if you don't do it, no one else will. Over time, this behavior can lead to overload, stress, and even health issues, as you often neglect your own rest and well-being for the sake of the obligations you've taken on. Additionally, people with this profile often struggle to deal with sudden changes or unexpected situations. Your soul seeks security and stability, but life is often chaotic and unpredictable. This contrast can generate anxiety, fear of losing control, and even resistance to stepping out of your comfort zone, even when changes are necessary for your growth. The rigidity that protects you in many moments can also prevent you from seizing valuable opportunities. Those with blood type A may also have a tendency toward emotional isolation. Because they are reserved and believe they must always show strength, these individuals may suppress their feelings, avoiding asking for help or sharing vulnerabilities. This behavior creates an invisible barrier, making deeper, truer connections more difficult. The great lesson here is to learn that vulnerability isn't weakness, but an act of courage that allows for more authentic relationships and a lighter, healthier emotional life. Beyond organization and responsibility, those with blood type A carry a deep need for predictability and planning. You likely feel calmer when you can anticipate the next steps, make lists, organize your week, and foresee future scenarios. This quest for security makes you cautious, someone who avoids unnecessary risks and prefers the stability of well-planned paths over impulsive adventures that could destabilize you emotionally or financially. Another striking characteristic of people with blood type A is their sensitivity to their environment and others' emotions. Even if you don't show it much, you're someone who quickly notices when there's tension in the air, when someone is uncomfortable, or when something isn't working as it should. Because of this, you often take on the role of peacemaker in groups, trying to resolve conflicts silently, adjusting your own behavior to maintain balance and harmony in the environments you're part of. Your soul also has a strong connection to ethics and integrity. You rarely act on impulse or without considering the consequences of your actions, as you deeply value coherence between what you say and what you do. Because of this, you might struggle to deal with people who change their minds quickly, don't keep their word, or act irresponsibly. Your tendency is to build bonds with those who convey the same seriousness and reliability you value so much. People with blood type A often have great patience for building things in the long term. You don't mind lengthy processes as long as you see meaning and purpose in them. On the contrary, you might even prefer projects that require time and dedication, understanding that the most important things in life aren't built in a rush. Your perseverance is admirable, but it can also lead you to stay in situations that no longer make sense simply because of the commitment you've made. Emotionally, you might be someone who prefers to show affection through concrete actions rather than words or overt displays. Not everyone may notice how much you love and care, as your love manifests in worrying about others' well-being, organizing daily life, and keeping promises. Your way of caring is quiet but profoundly consistent and loyal, and those who know you well understand they can count on you in any situation. Another strong trait is your resilience in the face of difficulties. Even when life demands too much of you, you take a deep breath, organize your thoughts, and move forward because you feel a duty to fulfill. This silent strength inspires those around you, but it also requires you to learn to ask for help and recognize your own limits. After all, you don't need to carry everything alone, even though your natural impulse is precisely that, to be the pillar that holds everything and everyone together. And now that we've explored even more of the nuances of blood type A and the richness this energy carries, let's move on to discover the singularities and challenges of those with blood type B, a profile marked by freedom, creativity, and a constant quest for new experiences. If your blood type is B, it's very likely that you feel an almost uncontrollable urge to experiment, explore, and reinvent. Your soul carries a spontaneous, flexible, and open to the new vibration. Since childhood, you might have been the one interested in many things at once, picking up and dropping hobbies easily, or always seeking new places to go, new people to meet, new challenges to overcome. You feel that life needs movement, and being stuck in overly rigid routines suffocates you. This desire for freedom manifests in many ways in your daily life. You like having autonomy to make decisions, prefer less controlling environments, and tend to shy away from relationships that put you in a position of dependence. Your energy is expansive, sociable, and contagious, naturally making you someone with many friends and contacts, though you don't always dive too deeply into these connections. For you, quality lies in diversity, in the richness of experiences and exchanges. Your creativity is one of your strongest traits. People with blood type B have a natural ease in thinking outside the box, proposing unexpected solutions, and turning problems into opportunities. You might have stood out for suggesting innovative ideas, improvising in tough situations, or connecting seemingly unrelated things to create something new and surprising. Your soul feeds on possibilities and isn't afraid to take risks when you feel it's worth it. Emotionally, you deeply value authenticity. You're likely to distance yourself from those who try to mold you or impose behavioral standards that don't align with your essence. You cherish light relationships, where you can be yourself without masks, or the need to fit others' expectations. This makes you inspiring to many people, but can also lead to misunderstandings, especially with those who prioritize stability above all. People with blood type B are generally seen as adaptable and resilient. You're the one who can quickly regroup in the face of unexpected events, sees challenges as opportunities, and prefers to dive into a new experience rather than stay in a situation that no longer makes sense. This ability is admirable, but can be misinterpreted as superficiality or lack of commitment. What few understand is that for you, the freedom to be and choose is what gives life meaning. Professionally, you shine in environments that allow you to express your creativity, interact with different people, and constantly seek new learning. Fields like art, communication, technology, or entrepreneurship can be especially stimulating for your profile, as they offer the diversity your soul craves. You're not content with preset paths. You prefer to forge your own trails, even if it means taking risks. And now that you're starting to recognize yourself in the nuances of this free and creative spirit that blood type B carries, let's dive deeper, exploring the negative points that can arise when this energy becomes unbalanced. Having blood type B means carrying vibrant and creative energy, but that same intensity can become a challenge when it lacks a minimum of structure or direction. One of the main negative points is a tendency toward dispersion. Your mind is always buzzing with ideas and possibilities, which can lead you to start many projects but not always finish them all. Sometimes, enthusiasm for the new overshadows the patience needed to complete what you've begun, generating frustration and even a sense of unproductivity. Another challenge is difficulty dealing with routines and rigid commitments. The constant need for movement and change can make you shy away from responsibilities or environments requiring a fixed, consistent presence. This aversion to limits might be seen by those around you as irresponsibility or immaturity, when in reality, it's a legitimate reflection of your fear of being trapped or losing the freedom you value so much. In relationships, your quest for freedom can create some resistance to deep, long-term commitments. Not because you don't want to connect, but because you fear these relationships might force you to give up your autonomy. This can lead you to pull away when things start to deepen or maintain a certain emotional distance as a form of self-protection. The risk here is missing out on more intense and transformative emotional experiences that are also part of your growth. Lastly, people with blood type B may have a tendency to act impulsively, especially when highly enthusiastic or emotionally involved in something. This behavior can lead to hasty decisions that, over time, result in regret or unwanted consequences. The challenge here is to balance the desire for novelty with a bit more reflection, avoiding letting the quest for freedom turn into an escape from responsibilities or the deeper lessons life offers. Beyond creativity and freedom, people with blood type B carry a characteristic that isn't always noticed at first glance: an immense capacity for emotional resilience. You might seem unstable to those observing from a distance, but those who truly know you realize that you adapt quickly to life's ups and downs. Your soul has learned that resisting change is futile and thus prefers to flow with it, making movement a source of strength, not weakness. Another striking aspect is your ability to socialize and connect with different types of people. You navigate various groups with ease, adapt to new cultures, environments, and ways of thinking, almost as if you have an innate ability to feel at home wherever you go. This doesn't mean superficiality, but rather a soul that understands every person and experience can teach something valuable. Your life tends to be rich with stories, encounters, and diverse lessons. However, this same flexibility can generate a certain existential angst. Amid so many possibilities, choices, and paths, you might feel that nothing is ever enough, that there's always something more to explore, someone else to meet, or a new place to discover. If not well understood, this feeling can create a constant silent restlessness, a sense that you're never fully where you're supposed to be, even while always on the move. You also have an uncommon ability to inspire those around you. Your spontaneity, enthusiasm, and courage to follow new paths often encourage others to do the same. Without realizing it, you become an example for those watching, showing through your life that you don't need to follow rigid patterns or live up to others' expectations to be happy. Your freedom is, in itself, a silent inspiration, inviting others to allow themselves more. Professionally, beyond creativity, you tend to have a very practical and objective approach when it comes to problem solving. While you don't enjoy repetitive tasks, you have a natural knack for finding quick and efficient solutions, especially when the context demands innovation and adaptability. Your profile thrives in areas where the unpredictable is the rule, as you handle the unexpected not as a threat but as an opportunity for growth and learning. Spiritually, those with blood type B often seek non-traditional paths. You enjoy exploring different philosophies, practices, and beliefs, tending to reject absolute truths. You prefer to build your spirituality with freedom, choosing what resonates with you rather than blindly following what's been dictated. Your soul seeks experiences that expand consciousness, and it's not uncommon for you to be drawn to topics like self-knowledge, meditation, alternative therapies, or transformative travels. And now that we've delved even deeper into the richness of the Type B profile, with all its nuances and challenges, let's move on to discover Type AB, a unique combination that integrates characteristics from two worlds, and, for that reason, holds fascinating complexity. If your blood type is AB, you carry a rare and unique energy. People with this blood type often feel, from a young age, a kind of dual emotional identity, as if at times they're more rational, and at others, deeply emotional. It's not uncommon to notice yourself acting very differently depending on the environment or the people you're with. This happens because your soul, in this life, carries the mission of integrating opposites, uniting forces that many believe are incompatible. This hybrid nature makes you extremely adaptable and empathetic. You can understand very different viewpoints, have an ease in listening, mediating conflicts, and helping others find solutions that consider multiple perspectives. You're likely seen by friends as the sensible one, who can see beyond extremes and always seeks balance. Your soul isn't comfortable with radical positions. You prefer the middle path, harmony, and mutual understanding. On the other hand, this ability to see all sides can create some internal confusion. You might often feel torn, unsure which path to follow, precisely because you see the pros and cons of each choice. Doubt is part of your journey and doesn't need to be seen as a flaw. It's a reflection of your depth, your need to integrate the various parts of yourself rather than simply choosing one side and ignoring the other. In relationships, those with blood type AB tend to be attentive, respectful, and caring. You greatly value the other person's emotional space and avoid intruding or imposing your presence. At the same time, you expect others to do the same for you. You might be more reserved in some aspects, but when you trust, you give yourself generously and sincerely. For you, a relationship only makes sense if built on mutual respect and genuine admiration. Professionally, you excel in areas requiring emotional intelligence, diplomacy, and synthesis. You might find it easy to deal with diverse groups, organize complex projects, or act as a mediator in challenging situations. Your mind can perceive nuances that go unnoticed by many, making you an excellent advisor, strategist, or negotiator. Your ability to unite seemingly opposing ideas is one of your greatest strengths. Spiritually, those with blood type AB tend to seek deep and integrative answers. You're not satisfied with simplistic views of life or ready-made explanations. You prefer to explore different traditions, philosophies, and paths, building a personal vision that unites logic and intuition, reason and spirituality. Your soul feels that truth is never on just one side, but at the intersection, the meeting point of differences. Carrying the energy of blood type AB means having the rare ability to navigate opposites, but this same skill can become a burden when not well understood. One of the main challenges is a tendency toward indecision, precisely because you can see all possibilities clearly. You might feel paralyzed when faced with important choices, taking longer than you'd like to decide, or, worse, avoiding decisions out of fear of making a mistake or hurting someone. Another difficult aspect is extreme emotional sensitivity, which isn't always evident to those around you. Despite seeming balanced, internally you feel emotions, expectations, and even others' judgments intensely. This vulnerability can lead you to adopt an overly reserved or even cold stance out of fear of getting hurt or disappointing others, distancing yourself from people to avoid conflicts or emotionally draining situations. Additionally, your adaptability, while a valuable quality, can lead to chameleon-like behavior, changing too much depending on the environment or people around you. This can create a sense of disconnection from your own essence, making you wonder at times, who am I really? This internal discomfort can be subtle but draining, often preventing you from asserting yourself clearly. Lastly, those with blood type AB may struggle to set clear boundaries. Because you seek harmony and avoid confrontation, you might end up saying yes when you mean no, taking on responsibilities or commitments you don't want just to keep the peace. This can lead to emotional overload and even resentment, as deep down, you know you're giving more than you'd like. The challenge here is to learn to stand your ground firmly, without fear of displeasing or disappointing others. Beyond the ease of navigating different environments and viewpoints, those with blood type AB have an incredible ability to perceive the emotional needs of those around them. You're the person who, even in silence, notices when someone is uncomfortable, sad, or anxious. Your empathy goes beyond what's said, reaching the nonverbal, the nuances, the hidden. Because of this, people often seek you out to vent, even when you don't present yourself as available for it. This sensitivity, while a quality, also makes you seek emotionally safe environments. You avoid places and relationships with too much aggression, conflict, or disrespect. Your soul values harmony, and thus prefers to be surrounded by people who understand differences and respect diverse viewpoints. This quest for peace can lead you to quickly distance yourself from toxic environments without looking back. Another important aspect of your profile is the need to maintain emotional independence. Despite being empathetic and welcoming, you need moments of introspection, silence, and distance to organize your thoughts and emotions. This is because your inner world is vast and complex, and only in solitude can you process everything you experience and feel. Some might see you as distant or cold, but these moments are essential for maintaining your balance. In the workplace, those with blood type AB generally prefer roles requiring analysis, mediation, and strategic vision. You enjoy dealing with matters involving multiple perspectives and are rarely satisfied in overly monotonous or predictable environments. Your ability to notice nuances and details others overlook makes you valuable in situations requiring negotiation, creativity, or solving complex problems. Your spirituality tends to be plural, open, and curious. You don't like closed answers or dogmas that limit your worldview. Instead, you take pleasure in exploring different paths, traditions, and philosophies, gradually building your own spiritual vision, often combining elements from various sources. This ability to create a personal spiritual system reflects your capacity to integrate what seems contradictory to many. In friendships and relationships, you tend to be loyal and discreet. You enjoy being present, but aren't one for grand declarations or extravagant gestures. You prefer to show affection through consistent actions and an attentive eye to what the other needs. While you value companionship deeply, you need partners who understand and respect your need for space and autonomy, without interpreting it as a lack of interest or detachment. And now that we've explored the depth of the richness of those carrying blood type AB, with all its complexity and sensitivity, let's move on to discover type O, a profile marked by instinctive strength, natural leadership, and a direct connection to ancestry and practical action. If your blood type is O, you carry within you a strength that harks back to humanity's earliest times. People with blood type O possess a primal, direct, instinctive energy that manifests as a natural capacity for leadership and action. Since childhood, you might have shown this inclination, taking the lead in games, organizing groups, or defending friends in conflict situations. Your soul bears the mark of someone who doesn't fear challenges, but is, in fact, motivated by them. This inclination for action makes you a decisive and practical person. You rarely freeze when faced with a choice. You prefer to take risks, act, experiment, and, if necessary, adjust your course along the way. Your intuition is powerful and guides you confidently, even when others are still caught up in analysis and doubt. For you, life isn't about waiting for everything to be perfect, but about seizing opportunities with courage and confidence, even if it means facing risks. Your energy also translates into a strong presence in the environments you enter. It's as if you naturally occupy space, drawing attention and earning respect without even trying. People with blood type O are often perceived as natural leaders, someone others trust to make decisions, organize tasks, or protect the group. This role often emerges without you even noticing, but it's deeply aligned with your essence. Emotionally, you tend to be very sincere and direct. You don't like beating around the bush, preferring to say what you feel and think clearly, even if it causes some discomfort. Your frankness, while it might seem harsh to more sensitive people, is actually a reflection of your commitment to truth and integrity. You value authentic relationships and detest emotional games or manipulation, preferring to distance yourself from those who hide their intentions. Your physical and mental resilience is another striking trait. People with blood type O are often very resilient, persistent, and focused. You don't give up easily, even when things get tough. On the contrary, it's in moments of crisis that your strength shines most. This ability makes you an example for those around you, inspiring others not to give up in the face of challenges and to stay focused on what truly matters. In the workplace, you excel in environments requiring speed, assertiveness, and decision-making capacity. Fields like management, sales, sports, security, or entrepreneurship often attract type O individuals because they offer constant challenges and opportunities to lead. You like feeling in control of situations and being able to positively influence outcomes through direct, quick, and determined action. And now that you're starting to see the instinctive strength and natural leadership that blood type O carries, it's also important to look closely at the challenges and negative points that can arise when this energy isn't balanced. Having blood type O means carrying powerful energy, but that same energy can at times become a burden. One of the main challenges is a tendency toward impulsiveness. Because you trust your intuition so much and act quickly, you might end up making hasty decisions without evaluating all the consequences. This behavior can put you in risky situations or lead to regrets later, especially in romantic relationships or important professional choices. Another delicate point is difficulty dealing with fragility, both your own and others. Because you have naturally resilient energy, you might have little patience for those who show insecurity, fear, or hesitation. At times, you might come across as cold or insensitive, not because you don't care, but because you struggle to understand that not everyone can act with the same strength and objectivity as you. This behavior can distance those who need support and understanding. Your need for control can also be an obstacle in relationships. Because you like to lead and hold the reins, you might end up taking on an overly dominant role, which can create conflicts with people who also value autonomy. Additionally, this tendency to command can make you resistant to differing opinions, fostering a rigidity that prevents you from learning from others or accepting that sometimes the best path isn't the one you initially proposed. Lastly, people with blood type O may struggle to stop, rest, and simply contemplate life. Your energy is one of action, movement, and conquest, but if not well balanced, it can lead to physical and emotional exhaustion. The challenge here is to understand that victory isn't always in doing, but also in knowing how to wait, listen, and let life unfold without so much need for intervention. Learning to trust the natural flow of things is one of the great lessons for those carrying this primal strength. Beyond courage and leadership, those with blood type O carry a deep need for overcoming and achieving. You rarely settle into a comfort zone for long. You're motivated by challenges that test your limits and demand your full strength. Whether in work, relationships, or personal projects, you need to feel you're advancing, growing, and accomplishing, as otherwise, life loses some of its meaning for you. This energy of action makes you seen as extremely reliable and determined. Those around you know that when you take on a responsibility, you'll see it through, facing all necessary obstacles. Your word carries weight, your presence inspires security, and your posture conveys that they can count on you. This commitment is one of your greatest virtues, but also requires you to balance dedication with self-care. Socially, people with blood type O are often spontaneous and charismatic, naturally drawing others' attention and respect. You have a striking presence that rarely goes unnoticed, and you often find yourself at the center of attention, even without seeking it. Your speech is firm, your posture confident, and your energy contagious. It's not uncommon for you to take on leadership roles in groups, guiding and protecting those around you. Emotionally, you value loyalty and frankness. You prefer clear, direct relationships with no room for games or manipulation. Because of this, you tend to have few but good friends, people you trust completely and with whom you can be yourself without masks or fears. When you love intensely and commit to those by your side, defending, supporting, and protecting with a strength that often impresses. Another striking trait is your connection to your body and physical vitality. People with type O often have a strong affinity for activities involving movement, like sports, hiking, or any practice requiring energy and endurance. Taking care of your health is something you do intuitively, as you feel your body is a fundamental tool for achieving your goals and expressing your inner strength. Spiritually, those with blood type O often follow paths involving action, transformation, and leadership. You're not content to contemplate spirituality only theoretically. You need to live it practically, whether through actions that impact people's lives or by guiding others in processes of growth and overcoming. Your soul seeks to leave a mark on the world, actively contributing to building something greater and meaningful. And now that we've delved even deeper into the strong, instinctive, and determined essence of those carrying blood type O, let's move to the pre-closing, where we'll reflect on everything revealed so far and how this knowledge can transform the way you perceive and position yourself in life. After diving into the meanings of each blood type, you might be feeling something few people have the courage to face head-on, the sense that there's something within you that's always been there, but only now is starting to make sense. This content isn't about labels or limiting who you can be. It's about recognizing that there are subtler forces at work within us, shaping behaviors, tendencies, and choices, forces that come from long before our birth and that we carry in the silence of our blood. Knowing what your blood type reveals is like receiving a symbolic key to access dormant parts of your personality. It's about understanding, with more compassion, why you feel the way you do, why you react the way you do, why certain patterns repeat. More than behavioral traits, each type carries a spiritual invitation. Type A calls us to balance order and flexibility. Type B, to freedom with commitment. Type AB, to integrating opposites. And Type O, to action with awareness. These are symbolic maps, not prison sand. You're free to transform any of them with consciousness and intention. The great truth is that when we look inward with honesty, we realize our most automatic behaviors are tied to deep fears, ancient memories, and structures built long before we could put our feelings into words. That's why this video isn't just informative. It's a mirror. A mirror that, if you have the courage to face, can show you not only who you are, but who you can still become. So breathe, let this content resonate within you without rush. And if something touched you, reminded you of who you are, or brought back something forgotten deep inside, comment below with your city and country so I can know how far this message has reached. This journey of self-knowledge is made of connections, and your comment is part of it. If this video helped you look inward with more clarity, understand certain aspects of your personality better, or simply brought that warm feeling of being embraced, I invite you now to do something simple but very powerful. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and leave a like. When you do this, you're not just supporting our work, but saying yes to continuing to receive content that helps you grow, evolve, and expand your consciousness. This space is made for those who seek to know and respect themselves in all their nuances. I know that talking about blood, personality, and spirituality might seem, at first glance, just a curiosity, But I hope that throughout this video, you've realized it's much more than that. Every piece of information shared here was designed so you don't just identify with it, but also reflect, question, and allow yourself to evolve. The idea isn't for you to cling to a profile, but to use this knowledge as a compass reference to help you make more conscious decisions, treat yourself with more kindness, and look at others with more empathy. So, if something here touched your heart, share this video with those you love. Sometimes a simple message, an insight, a new perspective can transform someone's day or even their life. Imagine if, through this content, someone else can also look at themselves with more compassion, understanding, and love. We're part of a great network, and when we share what helps us, we contribute to a more conscious and connected world. And finally, tell me in the comments which part resonated with you the most, which reflection, which blood type, which insight lingered within you. This space is built through exchange, and your voice is very important. Deep gratitude for staying with me until now, for allowing yourself this pause to know yourself more. May you continue honoring who you are and celebrating who you can still become. Until the next video, with more knowledge, more consciousness, and more connection.